Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where last episode T-Bone died due to my own incompetence, and that is entirely my fault. So we're getting some repairs done here. The Apollo has 24 days, and I think we're going to prioritize it. I usually like to go in like reverse order here, like this, so from longest to shortest. I don't know why. I just usually like to. It's probably not ideal, but that's how I like to do it. Now, we're going to have to decide who's going to replace T-Bone. So it's going to be either Panic or Plato, and honestly, it's probably going to be Panic because she has one additional point of piloting. Plato can stay in the simulator for a while, I guess. Sure. So that's probably going to be the plan here. We do need to tick forward for a little bit, but I want to take a quick look right now at our crossbow. So let's hop into the mech bay, not the barracks. We'll hop into the mech bay here, take a really quick look at the crossbow. So if we look at the quirks here, plus 3 heat sinking, minus 6% weapon heat generated, and +1 arm-mounted accuracy. Interesting. So it's not really designed to require anything like missile weapons. In fact, with the heat sinking, I mean, missile weapons absolutely... No, don't do that. I just want to go into the refit for the moment. I don't want to actually do this. I just want to take a quick look at what we'd be looking at, right? So this is the stock loadout here. AC-10, PPC series, and that's it. Okay, so noted. We've currently got 43 tons remaining, but that's going to get eaten up very, very quickly. No doubt about that. So it's going to be better with arm-mounted weaponry, and it's going to be better at heat sinking. Missile boats can have heat sinking issues, but generally that's more things like PPCs, large lasers, things like that are going to be more likely to generate that sort of thing. That does mean that things like the Gauss rifles, probably not the greatest. So we could think about having this be a sniper, for sure. It's got that modular weapons quirk, which is expected. And where do we actually see from here the bonuses? That's the carry weight. Okay, yep, that's the Omni hardpoints. Interesting. So I guess we just see it from the tooltip, right? So now that we know that it's going to be better with arm-mounted weaponry, which we can do. We can have that be missiles. We can have that be direct fire. Either of those are completely okay. We only have one LRM-20 at the moment. And of course, tonnage for those is going to be spicy. So we need to ask the question, and yeah, we don't actually want to do this right now. We need to ask the question, do we want this to be a backup for the, or rather, do we want the Apollo to be a backup for this and retire the Trebuchet? Or do we want the Hoplite to be a backup for this? And I'm leaning towards that for now. But I still think we're lacking the actual weaponry to get that going. So let's tick forward a few days here. We'll get our mech warriors back, and then we'll take a look here. So there's improved automation done. We can definitely get an additional engineering upgrade going here. So the next thing that we could definitely think about is start going for something like this. This is 2 battle armor only slots for the Junkyard Leopard. This one is increasing the allowed drop size by 1 slot. So that would allow us to drop 5 mechs, 6 mechs, 7 mechs, and 8 mechs. And then we currently have, let's see, this is tanks and storage. Okay, so 2 battle armor, 4 vehicle, 8 mech is what we're looking at for a total drop size of 14 in theory. We don't really have the battle armor, so this would not help us all that much, although it would give us additional drop capacity. So, and the +1 tech points isn't bad either, but it is very expensive. We have a lot of cash right now, so maybe we get that purchased just to get that huge expenditure out of the way. We'll do that for now, but it's not really going to help us in the immediate future. But it's only a 1-day upgrade, so that's fine. Rest and recreation, huh? This is a recreation world. We'll send them for shore leave. Morale increased by 10. Phenomenal. So now we can go back into the engineering and get another upgrade going now that we've spent some of our money. And we can start thinking, well, if we could do this, then we could bring both the Trebuchet and the Apollo. Well, is that actually something that we want at this moment? Possibly? Alternatively, we could go for the tech point and the morale here. Or the upkeep reduction. I mean, that's probably pretty decent in terms of reducing our monthly costs. When would that end? 30 days? Okay, noted. We could also go for just flat +3 tech points. And honestly, that's what I'm going to go for here. We need to be able to repair more quickly. Things are still a little rough on that front. We're currently 7 days away from everything being repaired. Except the Apollo. The Apollo will still be out. So let's tick forward for 7 days here. Okay, 2 more days for the Trebuchet. There we go. That'll do for now. We'll hop into the barracks here. And we are going to see about any mech warrior upgrades. So hard case could get a point of piloting. Absolutely, we're interested in that. Melee accuracy, initiative randomness, and additional movement for that Shadowhawk is phenomenal. Panic is, of course, going to be going down the tactics tree here. And Plato can grab a point of tactics here, and now arguably Plato is equivalent to Panic. I'm probably still going to go with Panic here. She's higher in the list. Our backup will just be at the bottom. That'll be, I don't know, a little easier for my brain to handle. So that'll be fine. We're, at this point, ready to deploy, but the Apollo is still out. The question is, do we want to risk something a little tougher? I have no idea, because we don't know how that modifier roll that I talked about previously is right now. We have no way to know. So this might go well, it might go poorly. Hard to say. For the moment, I think we might want to consider doing something like this, Operation Healthy Freedom. It's an escort mission. Interesting. An escort mission might not be too bad. There's also this assassinate mission. With good salvage and not that high of pay. It's 1 skull down in the difficulty. I think we'll try this one. And we'll run it at full salvage. We are very interested in getting additional salvage. No doubt about that. So, of course, we don't have T-Bone. We're going to be bringing Panic in that slot. And beyond that, this is as good as we're going to get for our deployment for now. We're definitely going to be interested in deploying the crossbow. And if we can deploy both the crossbow and the hoplite, that wouldn't be bad. I would like to have, like, in terms of our final setup, right? The vehicles I would kind of like to have in... I don't know. I'll have to think about how we want to set up the vehicles. But in terms of our 2 mech lances, I definitely want to have one be a, like, cavalry/juggernaut lance. And then the other one would end up being a fire support lance. Split between direct and indirect fire. Darius thinks this is going to be hard. He may or may not be right. We'll find out. So let's hop on in here. This will be fine. And of course, it'll take a moment to load, so I'll see you guys in just a moment. Okay, that one took a hot minute to load, so that's a little bit spooky. We might have a lot of enemies here. So, let's hop on in, and we'll see how this is gonna go. I did hear helicopters as we loaded in, so let's see. Comstar has... Okay. Comstar does have some forces here. Looks like they're, like, up over here. Sure. So we could drop over this direction. We could... Okay, this is where the insurgent leader is. Supporting enemy forces are here. Merrick reinforcements are here. I kind of want to deploy and engage these supporting forces first. So we could deploy down here, engage these guys, and then make our way up to these. They're a long ways away. They're very separated. So this might be a bit of a long one. We'll see here. I do want to eliminate these supporting forces first, if at all possible. So let's spawn on in here. What do we see? Okay, so Comstar has a land air mech. That's a Karnov transport over there, a wheeled APC. This is not a Comstar unit. This is an enemy unit. So we see a Wraith, a Trebuchet, a Wasp, and a Clint. And then there's that Karnov transport there. Okay, now as far as these reinforcements and the insurgent leader go, we don't know. We don't know anything about them, but we do know that we need to engage down over here and clean these guys up before we have any problems. So that is indeed what we're going to do here. We're going to send our cavalry units down here while I think our fire support units take out these guys on the ridge, ideally. Wasp moves up over here. Sure. Climbing that ridge a bit. That's absolutely fine for the moment. That Karnov is just kind of chilling there for right now.
If I were planning an ambush, this is where I'd put it.
Indeed. I mean, it does look like we've been ambushed a little bit here, but the other guys are so far away that I don't think it matters. So that's reasonably fine. The land air mech closes in on their Wraith and Trebuchet. So that's fine. Or as I like to pronounce it, Tree Bucket. It's a very wrong way to pronounce it, but it's a fun way to pronounce it. So our Scimitar, of course, needs to be closing in out over here. We'll start getting some speed built up. There we go. And then these guys are going to start closing in to this hill right here. I don't know if we can climb this. It'll be kind of questionable. But let's get closed in over here. We don't have LOS here. Wheeled APC moves up. That's fine. And we have no idea what to expect up over this way. Hard to say. But I'm glad we didn't spawn up over here. That could have been problematic, for sure.
Commander.
The Shadowhawk is going to close in over here. Yep, this guy moves over and exposes his side arc. I like it. Phenomenal. Of course, we have spawn protection right now, so no firing is happening just yet. That will change soon. Very soon. So this Clint positions back over here. Okay.
Commander?
And our Trebuchet is just going to step forward over here and brace for the moment. Looks good. Okay. Spawn protection has been removed.
Got your back.
So our Centaur can head on in over here. We do see a rear arc from this position on the Wasp. We cannot fire on the Clint from here,
Copy that.
but we can get into rear arc on the Wasp. These hit odds aren't the greatest, but that thing has such little rear armor that I think we can eliminate it right now. Well, a torso destruction anyway. We did a lot of damage to the Wasp. We can maybe get the Scimitar in and finish it off, but that'll happen after the Wasp moves. We'll see what happens with that. They've got 2 Phase 17 movers. They rolled well for initiative here. Okay, they're firing on the land air mech. Structure exposure already. Wow, that's awkward. Good rolls on that one, but they did attack the rear arc, right? So that's fine. The land air mech isn't going to move until Phase 12, which is kind of remarkable, actually. The real question is, can we get climbed up this? I don't know. We'll find out. We need to advance over here and eliminate these units as quickly as we can before pivoting up to the north and taking out the remainder of them. We've kind of ambushed the ambushers, I feel like, here. So that's very good. No doubt about that. Who's their other Phase 17 mover? The Karnov? Yeah, Karnovs don't have much for armor at all, or really anything, so we can shoot that down fairly easily once it gets into position and figures out where it's going to go here. It's also not very threatening. It's just got 2 machine guns, although it could be reasonably threatening against our Centaur. Interesting positioning for that Wasp there. We're absolutely going to take our hoplite up over here and fire on this Trebuchet. Hit odds aren't the best, but we'll pot shot it. And we hit nothing at all. Okay.
Negative damage.
I don't know if we failed our sensor roll there, or if that was just, you know, the firing into trees, target moved thing adding up. It's only 2 evasive. We almost certainly failed the sensor roll there. Oh, okay, they're shooting at the Wasp rear arc. They do miss. But that's neat. Cool. Next up is going to be the Clint. Okay, so we'll see what the Clint does here. That'll be very interesting indeed. It moves back, fires on the Centaur. It manages to hit with a medium laser, but we're not very concerned about that, to be honest. We're going to get in behind the Clint and hit that pretty soon. That's a Telltale VTOL that we just saw. And a Karnov moving in from the north. Okay, so those are going to be a little hard to hit, but they're not super threatening. That's a Ripper. Firing on our Trebuchet here. Okay, good thing we guarded. No doubt about that. So we see 3 helicopters on their way in. Okay. So that's reasonably fine. We can start eliminating some of these relatively soon. The Waspland air mech jumps and fires on this Karnov. It doesn't do all that much damage, but Karnovs are pretty weak, so it should be reasonably fine, all things considered. They're firing on our hoplite. That is not very threatening.
Barely hit, Commander.
Indeed. And our Scimitar is now going to come in down here as much as it can.
Got it,
And I
Commander.
think we fire probably on the Clint here. It's front arc, so it's definitely not ideal. And we miss the autocannon. 63% chance on that one. Okay, that's fine. Not the end of the world there. So we're definitely outnumbered here. There's no doubt about that one. Our Trebuchet, I want to seek cover here. So I want to position... Oh, that's very sensitive. Okay, let's go out over here. Yeah. About there. Well, really, though, this entire section of the Trebuchet is quite weak. So maybe we want to turn a bit more like this, or we could potentially sprint and turn like this, exposing the left side out this direction, not firing on the Trebuchet with our Trebuchet, but instead firing out over this direction on the Ripper and Karnov. Hit odds are really low on them. 10 evasive. This has used up all of its missiles. Those were clearly rockets. Okay, yeah. I think we'll just chill here for now. I mostly wanted to position it like that because this Trebuchet took a lot of damage in that side flank. No doubt about that. So that Trebuchet moves away and doesn't really do anything. The Shadowhawk could position up over here. I'm not sure if we can climb this or not. It would be really good to know if we could. I'm guessing that's a no. Okay. In that case, we're going to head off this direction.
Copy that.
The Shadowhawk is going to position here. We're going to pot shot at the Ripper. I don't expect to get too much out of this. Yeah, just 5 damage. And we're going to start heading up here to deal with some of these guys. That's a Sestris over there as well. Okay, noted.
How can I help?
So our Centaur, at this point, needs to get in behind this Clint. We're just going to position right here, backstab the Clint, and this is probably a kill.
Confirm.
AC-5 ammo explosion,
was a critical
but
hit,
the ammo explosion was contained. That was a lot of damage to the Clint. No doubt about it. And it's also really high heat now, so that's certainly noted. We're going to be able to move our Scimitar before the Clint moves as well. So the Wraith is moving over here. I'm just going to send our cavalry units up here to deal with these, and we're just going to be pivoting our longer range units up this way to start fighting these guys. We need to get like on top of these hills, but it's going to be kind of awkward for us. We're definitely in the low ground here, but I don't think there was really too much of a way around that. So at this moment, our hoplite moves. I'd like to get into cover over here,
On it.
and we can start firing on whatever we have the best hit odds on, which is the Karnov. They're not good hit odds, but we don't need to do much damage. Literally, we hit this thing with anything, with the AC-5 or the Gauss, and it dies. And we didn't hit with either. That's not surprising.
That didn't hit.
No, it didn't. That's not surprising, but it's definitely worth keeping the kill threat on the Karnov. Okay, this Ripper comes in on the Trebuchet. It's now a lot closer.
I'm under heavy fire.
It's going to have a lot of evasive from that. The Karnov moves in. It's now a lot closer as well.
Damage is
Okay. So that's reasonably fine. These helicopters are definitely outpacing anything that they have on the ground. The Telltale VTOL moves in, goes for the land air mech, and misses. Cool. I like it. So next up is going to be our scimitar, right? And the scimitar can move up over here. We don't actually have to sprint it. We can just position here, and we can fire on this wasp. Hit odds aren't the greatest, but we don't need to do a lot of damage to take it out. And there goes the wasp. Fantastic. So it's out of here. Next up, that heavy-tracked APC that we didn't see before is moving in. Okay.
I'm here.
Interesting way to describe that, but whatever. I'm going to move our trebuchet out over this direction, I think. I'm thinking about ideal ranges right now. And honestly, we're kind of in an ideal range at this moment. I feel like the trebuchet is not under that big of threat as long as we can shoot down one of these. How much armor does this Ripper have? Quite a lot in the front. Okay, I'm leaning towards the Karnov right now. Let's fire on the Karnov and see what we get done. We exposed the structure, but we didn't get any internal damage there. Oof. Okay. Well, that's okay. We can get that thing shot down eventually. This trebuchet moves up, does not fire. I like it. So at this point, I kind of want to take our Shadowhawk over here
Roger that.
and fire on this Ripper. Hit odds aren't the greatest, but if we get decent damage into that rear arc, we might be able to get something done here. We got absolutely nothing done. Okay. Yeah, we're struggling a bit with our anti-air weaponry. No doubt about that. We're kind of bad at anti-air, but these also are moving very, very fast. So we'll see how that ends up going. The Wasp Land Air Mech goes for the Karnov, but it doesn't go for the side that has the structure exposure. That's awkward. Okay, so the Clint moves and does not fire. He's also at 1 health. Intriguing. And our ally fires on that Clint. Does get some internal damage there, but doesn't really do anything, ultimately. Okay. So they're firing on the Shadowhawk here. They got absolutely no damage in. I like it. Okay, next round. So the Karnov transport is very close to dying here. We've rolled kind of awkwardly on our initiative, but it's overall not too bad, I think. Yeah, overall this isn't too bad on the initiative. So next up is our Centaur. The Centaur, I don't know. The Clint, I really feel like the Scimitar can handle. Can the Centaur get up into position to really attack anything of note, though? Because if not, then we should simply position here and take out this Clint. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we'll eliminate that Clint. That is half of the supporting forces gone. Phenomenal. Next up, that Telltale VTOL moves in, goes for our Trebuchet, and drops mines everywhere. And narcs our Trebuchet.
Reporting minimal damage.
Okay, that is a lot of mines. Noted.
Good to go.
And it's still got more mines it can drop as well, so, you know, that's helpful. These are... what type of mines, though? I don't know. We can position the hoplite right here and find out. Okay, yep, those are just explosive mines. Noted. So this is 10% on the Gauss rifle, 15%, and 10%. It's overkill to Gauss rifle the Karnov transport, but we need to take it down with something, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire with the rocket packs, and we're looking to guarantee the shoot down on this Karnov. We missed literally everything there. That is incredibly unfortunate, considering that we had 15% hit odds spread over 12 attacks. But we missed literally all of them. So next up is Phase 14. We'll see what they decide to do here. That is going to be this Wraith. So that'll be interesting for sure. What are you going to do, Wraith? You going to head this way? Attack our trebuchet? Our trebuchet is not looking so good, but it's actually going for the land air mech. It tried to DFA a land air mech in flight. I feel like that's complicated. But okay, sure. Well, things are definitely going a bit awkwardly here. We're having a hard time hitting, but that's okay. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to finish working our way through these VTOLs and start working up this direction, and hopefully eliminating that insurgent leader eventually as well. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.